Liam is an overworked officer drone who hasn't had a good night's sleep in almost 10 years. His work life is more toxic than reality TV shows, so the only thing keeping him going right now is his loving wife and daughter. Once Liam returns home for the day, he is greeted by Mika and asked about their daughter Kanami. Mika tells him Kanami has already gone to bed, but she spent the whole day begging for a dog. Apparently, she saw a Shiba over at her friend's house recently, and she hasn't been able to get over it. Liam isn't sure they can afford to get a dog right now, but after looking at his sleeping daughter, he decides it might be worth it to get a dog if it will make Kanami happy, even if he has to take on a few extra shifts at work. The next day, he takes Kanami to a pet shop to get her a dog, and she looks really happy. Mika is honestly surprised that Liam agreed to get a dog since it would add even more work to his plate, but he's fine with it. He believes that as long as he keeps his wife and daughter happy, he can make it through any challenges. But he couldn't have been more wrong about that. The next day at work, Liam gets yelled at by his boss for not delivering a report to him on time. Liam reminds the boss that he sent the report in on Thursday, but on Thursday, the boss was at a club with thick Latinas, so he didn't see the message. And somehow, he still finds a way to blame Liam for it. At work, Liam faces constant abuse either from his irresponsible boss or from his subordinates, who don't respect him. They constantly take credit for things that he accomplishes and blame him for things that he didn't do, so his work life is like an active minefield, but get to come home every day and see his wife and daughter always manage to lift his spirits. However, the next day, while Liam is on the train to work, he receives a message from his friend Nitya. Nitya is telling him about the latest Gundam that just dropped and asks him to help buy it for him. Liam gets a chuckle out of how much Nitya loves his Gundams, but since they are friends, he decides to go buy one. He gets off the train and uses Google Maps to try finding the store, but he isn't familiar with the area, so he ends up getting lost. He starts looking around to see if he can spot any landmarks, but that's when he spots his wife on a date with a random guy. Liam is in disbelief at first because Mika told him she was going to drop Kanami off at sword practice today, yet here she is. Later that evening, Liam gets home from work and asks Mika what she did today. Mika lies and says all she did was drop Kanami off at sword practice. So Liam is about to reveal that he saw her out on a date, but he ends up pretending that nothing is wrong. He doesn't want to ruin his happy family life, so he starts trying to convince himself that he misunderstood what he saw. After all, there's no way Mika would ever cheat on him. He decides to go on a break to clear his mind, so he tries to put his computer on standby. But that doesn't seem to be working, so he is forced to turn it off until he gets back. He takes a stroll through the city and wanders over to the spot where he saw Mika on a date earlier, and he is relieved to see that she is not here today. But all that relief vanishes when he hears Mika on the phone with her suspected affair partner, and she even brought Kanami with her. Liam tries to maintain hope that the guy is just a friend, but then he hears Kanami call the man Papa, and his world practically shatters. He goes back to work and tries to convince himself that his wife isn't cheating on him. Maybe that was just a really good friend who likes to roleplay as Kanami's father when Liam isn't around. Just then, his boss comes over and starts yelling at Liam for slacking off, so Liam explains that he is just waiting for his computer to turn on. It's been having problems with the standby mode, so for security reasons, Liam has to turn it off every time he goes on break. But his just yells at him even more and says he should just skip all his breaks. Just then, he gets a call from Mika, and she tells him that Kanami got into a horrible accident, so Liam frantically rushes down to the hospital. Once he gets there, he asks Mika where Kanami is, and she tells him she's already in the operating room. Just then, the doctor comes out and asks if the two of them are Kanami's parents. They both say yes, so he tells them that he needs one of them to donate blood to Kanami and asks what their blood groups are. Liam says he is AB positive, and Mika says she is O negative, so the doctor asks Mika to come into the operating room for the blood transfusion. Liam asks the doctor why it has to be Mika, so he explains that Kanami is also O negative, so Liam's blood wouldn't be a match for her. While the surgery is going on, Liam does a little googling and discovers that it is physically impossible for Kanami to have an O blood type when he is AB, so the only plausible explanation is that she isn't really his daughter. He has finally had enough, so he confronts Mika about it, and asks if Kanami is really his daughter or not. But then Mika starts gaslighting him, and says she is the one who should be mad here because Liam doesn't care about this family at all. She says he is never around, so Liam explains that it's because he always has to work late, but Mika refuses to listen. She tells Liam that his job is worthless, because he never gets raises or promotions, so he can't afford to give her the kind of life she wants. Liam can't believe what he's hearing, but Mika continues and yells that in the 10 years that they've been married, she almost never gets to see Liam, so she's had to raise Kanami all by herself. She is conveniently ignoring the part about Kanami not being Liam's child though. She tells Liam that he has never been a part of this household, and she is going to take Kanami and leave. Liam asks her where she plans to go, but Mika ignores him and knocks on Kanami's door, telling her that they are going to leave. Liam tries to stop her, but Mika pulls herself away, and he is getting desperate, so he yells that he has always done his best for Kanami, and begs her not to leave him, but then Kanami tells him she likes her other father better, and he loses all hope. The next day, Liam goes into work, and he is still devastated by Mika and Konami's betrayal. But then he gets called over by his boss and is accused of embezzling company funds. Liam denies this, but the boss clearly has a record of 50 million yen being sent to a random account, and the logs are from Liam's computer, so he is fired on the spot. After losing his job, Mika used it as an excuse to file for divorce, and even sued him for child support even though Konami isn't his daughter. In order to avoid jail time for the alleged embezzling, Liam agreed to 50 million yen back by getting a job as a construction worker, but realistically he is going to die long before he ever pays that off. His life is pretty much over now, and the only semblance of joy he has left is from Nita. He sends Liam a message about the latest Gundam episode, so Liam is about to send a message saying he'd love to watch it with him, but then he deletes it because he doesn't want Nita to find out about how sad his life has become. He tries to stay hopeful and believes that if he just works hard enough, then his life will surely become better. But then while he is eating his lunch, he coughs up some blood, and he realizes the end is coming for him. That night he tries to get some sleep, but his bloody cough is getting worse, and he can't even seek professional help because he can't afford the treatment. He is forced to just sit in his bed and await his inevitable death. But just as life begins to fade from his body, a light appears above him and starts showing him visions. The vision reveals that it was his boss who embezzled the 50 million yen from Liam's computer, and it was also the same boss who Mika had been cheating on him with. And all that stuff Mika said earlier about feeling neglected turns out to have been a total lie because she always saw Liam as nothing more than an insignificant worm that she could milk for his money. She was even part of the plan to frame Liam for embezzling the money from the company. Liam is heartbroken and can't believe what he is seeing is real, but a mysterious man tells him that it's all true. He asks Liam if he is really going to let them get away with such despicable behavior, and Liam has reached his limit, so he swears that he will make them pay for what they have done, even if it's the last thing he does. The man loves the pure rage coming from Liam right now, so he's glad he decided to come visit him, but he never introduced himself, so Liam asks him who he is supposed to be and why he is here. The man explains that he just happened to take an interest in Liam because he is a good man, but Liam doesn't seem amused because living a good life left him with nothing. If he could go back, he would live his life selfishly and prioritize himself above all else. The man is pleased to hear this, so he informs Liam that he is actually here to offer him a chance to go to another world, and all Liam needs to do is choose the world he wants to go to. For all Liam knows, this might just be a hallucination he is having on his deathbed, but if he is really being given the option of choosing a new world, he wants to make it count. He recalls hearing Nita mention something about another world before, and there's a Gundam world, so he decides to go with that. This is a world of both sci-fi and magic, and it is heavily influenced by royals and nobles, so there's a chance that Liam might end up as a peasant on a farm somewhere. But since the man likes him, he says he will reincarnate Liam as the son of a count who rules a planet to make things easier for him. Liam is glad to hear that his new life will be better than his current one, so with his dying breath, he signs the iSky contract, and his soul is sent to the new world. On planet Hydra, it is officially Liam's 5th birthday, so his mother has organized a party for him. She also has a special present for him, so she tells Liam to follow her and activates a floating spell beneath her feet. Liam does the same, and once they get to the next room, he finds a giant cake and a huge box next to it. Liam eagerly unwraps his gift and finds a cube. So his mother explains that it's the character customization for his very own AI maid. He can use this remote to select any features he wants the maid to have, and it will be sent to a manufacturing company to be produced. Other customizable features include the ears, the mouth, and several other body parts that need to be blurred out. Liam asks her why she's giving a 5-year-old such a thing, but she says it is very important. His father then comes over, and he says he has a special gift for Liam as well: the entirety of the Banfield estate. Liam is shocked to hear that his father is really willing to hand over the entire estate to a 5-year-old. Liam asks if his father is really serious about making him the new count, and he confirms it, but there's just one tiny condition Liam needs to agree to first. After he hands the estate over to Liam, he wants to move into a villa with his wife and live out the rest of his days in peace. So he tells Liam that he needs to agree to give him an allowance every month to receive the estate. Liam is so blinded by the prospect of power that he doesn't realize how weird it is that his father is willing to hand everything over to a literal infant. So when his father pulls out a contract for Liam to sign, he just signs it without reading the contract. Once he is done, his father takes the contract and says he and his wife will be leaving now. But Liam still doesn't realize that he most likely just got scammed. He decides to just ignore the suspicious parts and focus on the fact that he is officially a count now, and he plans to abuse the power of a count as much as possible to make sure no one ever screws him over again. And you never would have made it here if it weren't for the guy, so he's very thankful to him. However, Liam really shouldn't have trusted a guy who literally feeds off sadness and suffering. Right after Liam was sent to the other world, the man decides to cause a lot more suffering before he returns to his realm, so he turns his attention to Mika and Liam's boss. They are still busy laughing it up in the restaurant, and Liam's boss is joking that he feels a little bad for ruining Liam's life like this. But Mika tells him she feels no sympathy for him. After all, he deserves to rot away for wasting 10 years of her life. All of a sudden, a group of police officers surround the boss and tell him that he is under arrest. The boss tries to claim that this must be a mistake, but the police have seen the camera footage of him framing Liam for the embezzlement, so they are going to lock him away for a long time. And now that her sugar daddy is going to prison, Mika is going to be completely broke and miserable. And the guy is reveling in all the suffering he has caused. Now all that's left is to transport Liam's soul to the other world, and he's going to make sure Liam suffers even more than he did in this world. He wants to savor every bit of Liam's negative emotions once he realizes how bad his life is going to be, and the lifespans of people in that world are a lot longer, so Liam will have to suffer for centuries over there. Meanwhile, over in the New World, a planet is currently under attack from the ghost pirates. But just when the captain thinks they are about to win, a bunch of his men suddenly blow up. And amidst all the chaos, he spots Liba's princess Knight just floating there menacingly. Christiana is the first princess of the Holy Kingdom of Liba, and she is an extraordinary fighter, so once she joins the battle, the pirates begin dropping like flies. With her help, the Liba army begins pushing the pirates back, but even after the pirates start retreating, Christiana orders her soldiers to continue attacking because they need to make an example out of those foolish pirates. While that's going on, Liam has just received his AI maid, and he is really excited, but he wasn't expecting it to come in a doll package. His butler tells him that all he needs to do to open the package is touch it, so Liam does that, and the maid lands on the ground. She introduces herself to Liam as Amagi, and his butler tells him that from today onward, Amagi will serve as his personal aide. He tells Liam that she'll need to undergo maintenance once every week, but aside from that, she can be active 24/7 to take care of Liam's needs. But Liam stopped listening a while ago because he is too busy inspecting the assets. The butler asks him what he's doing, so Liam explains that he is just checking to make sure the manufacturing company built her with the double DS he requested. Even if that's the case, the butler tells Liam that he shouldn't do such things in front of other people, so Liam asks Amagi to come with him to his room so he can do a thorough inspection of every part of her body, and the butler is really worried about Liam's innocence. A couple of hours later, Liam is getting a shoulder massage from Amagi, and the butler asks Liam what he did in here, but Liam tells him not to worry about it. He may look like a 5-year-old, but his mind is actually 36. However, the butler tells him that 36 is still practically a child. Liam is shocked to hear this, so Amagi explains the average lifespan in this world is 600 years, and you're not considered an adult until you're around 100. Liam had no idea that the lifespans here were so long, but he's happy about it because a long life will give him plenty of time to try a lot of things, and he'd love to have Amagi by his side the entire time. Liam's butler warns him that it's not a good idea to get too close to Amagi, since the Empire as a whole despises AI, so if people see him being friendly with an AI, then it could start bad rumors about him. Liam doesn't understand why people would hate AI, so he asks the butler to explain. He tells Liam that long ago humans were nearly wiped out by AI in the Great Skynet War. They were enslaved and nearly driven to extinction. But in those dark times, a group of people bravely fought back against the AI and restored the freedom of humanity. Those were the same people who founded the Empire, so it is pretty understandable that the Empire's nobility doesn't like AI very much. But if all that is true, then why would his mother give him an AI for his birthday? The butler says he was told to keep it a secret, but since Liam is the new count, he orders the butler to tell him. The butler reveals that Liam's parents abandoned him and ran. Liam asks what they were running from, so the butler explains that they dumped the massive debt of the Banfield family on Liam's shoulders, so they wouldn't have to deal with it. Liam's great-grandfather, Alistair, was a great man who accomplished many things and made a name for the Banfield family. But Liam's father was a straight bum, so when he took over control of the Banfield family, he ran everything straight into the ground. Now the Banfield family owes a ton of money and has lost the rights to all the farmable resources on their frontier planets. On top of that, their industries have dwindled, so there is almost no tax revenue coming in, and that means they'll never be able to pay back the debt. In other words, little bro is cooked. Elsewhere on planet Hydra, a couple of the citizens are gathered in a bar, and they are talking about how their new lord is apparently a 5-year-old. One of the men there talks about how much he hates this place because the last time a new lord was introduced, they got taxed a lot for no reason, but all they can do for now is hope that things turn out better than it did last time. Meanwhile, Liam is still trying to wrap his head around the whole thing, because if the Banfield territory has been poor for so long, why would his parents suddenly decide to drop the burden on their 5-year-old son? But then he realizes that they must have given birth to him specifically because they wanted to drop their debts on him. In his past life, Liam was abused, used, and then flushed away like toilet paper, but he swears that he isn't going to let that happen to him here as well. He asks Amagi to team up with him to make sure his future is a good one, and Amagi is more than happy to assist Liam in any way, because he has given her a purpose. Liam is glad that he finally has someone he can fully trust, so he looks forward to working with Amagi. But before that, he decides to give her the 3 laws of robot that will ensure the safety of humanity. The first law is that Amagi is not allowed to cause harm to any human being. Then Liam thinks about it, and realizes that he doesn't care about any other human beings, so he decides to go with a different set of laws. First, he says Amagi is not allowed to do anything that would cause harm to him. Secondly, she must obey all orders that Liam gives her unless it would conflict with the first law. And finally, she is to protect herself at all times unless doing so would contradict the first or second law. Now that that's done, Liam tells Amagi that he plans to revitalize the Banfield domain, so he wants to know if she has any ideas on how he could do that. Amagi does a quick search, and she eventually comes up with something, but before she tells Liam, she warns him that since she is an AI, her ideas may not line up with the ideals of the Empire. However, she is equipped to provide administrative support for Liam's governance. However, Liam knows absolutely nothing about this world, so Amagi suggests that he should use an education capsule. It is a special device that can download 10 years worth of information into your head in the span of only 6 months, and it even strengthens your body while you are in there. Liam thinks that's a good idea, but there won't be anyone to take charge of the Banfield domain while he is in there, so he grants Amagi temporary authority to run the domain while he is in the capsule. Brian objects to the idea because he doesn't want Liam to entrust the entire domain to an AI, but Liam says it's fine since Amagi would never do anything bad unless he ordered her to. And besides, there is no law saying an AI can't temporarily run a domain, so he is going to leave everything in her hands. Once the education capsule is prepared, Liam is ready to begin the process, but before he goes in, there's something he wants to ask Amagi. He wants to know if she can experience emotions or something similar, and while Amagi says she can't be sure, when Liam asked her to team up with him, her logs caused a cache memory overflow, or in simple terms, made her happy. Liam is glad to hear that, so he reminds Amagi that he is leaving everything in her care and goes into the education pod.